Moving to Kansas City can be confusing, in large part due to there being two cities named Kansas City that just so happen to share a border. So in this video, we're gonna pop open the map and I'm gonna show you everything you need to know about living in Kansas City. From the best neighborhoods within Kansas City to the best suburbs and their proximity to downtown, as well as what you can buy in certain areas depending on your budget. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm Kyle with Moving to KC, and every week I bring you the latest on real estate, lifestyle, and developments taking place here in the Kansas City area. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. My team and I help folks just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest throughout KC. So shoot us a call, text, or email if you check any of those boxes, and we'd love to help. So in today's video, I'm going to pop open the map and break down the metro by focusing on four main components: commuting, neighborhoods, things to do, and budget. Let's get into it. Okay, so number one, commuting. Let's talk about public transportation here in Kansas City. This is the Ride KC map. So this is going to give you all of your bus routes, the streetcar line, everything you need to know about public transportation can be found right here on the Ride KC website. But what you'll notice is a lot of these bus lines, a lot of the public transportation, the entire streetcar are really focused here in South Kansas City in what I would consider the urban core. So you're going to have a lot more options for public transportation if you live in this area here. In fact, let me just kind of draw this out for you. So you can see this area here pretty much spans from the Missouri River up north, out east to 435 and 435 on the southern end, and then you have state line here on the west side. So as we kind of zoom out, you can see that there are some options for public transportation outside of that area, but they're very limited. Up here we have KCK, so you're going to have some options up here. North of the river, you're going to have some. Over here in Johnson County, I mean, is going to be where you're most limited to public transportation. So if you're looking at an area that's more walkable, where you don't have to rely so much on your car, you're pretty much going to want to look in this region here. Now, outside of that, you're going to want to understand what the highway systems look like, because we're a pretty sprawled out city and very car reliant here in the Kansas City metro. So let's just dive in here and take a look at what the major highways are and what points they'll get you to and certain landmarks. So you have I-35 that runs from the southwest corner of the metro up to the northeast corner of the metro. So down here in like Olathe, Lenexa, parts of Overland Park, you know, you're going to access I-35 quite a bit. And then over here in Liberty, Kearney, Gladstone, that's going to be a big highway for you if you live in any of those areas. The next one is the 435 loop. So this is our loop that goes all the way around the metro area. Does a kind of a odd shaped oval circle here. One thing that you'll notice is up here on the northwest side of the metro, that's where the airport is. So if you're somebody that travels a lot for work, or you just travel a lot in general and you're going to be in and out of the airport, you're probably going to want to be north of the river, you know, somewhere close. But even if you're down here in Johnson County, you can take 435. It's like a 25 to 30 minute drive depending on where you're at there. Now running from east to west, way out here from Topeka all the way through downtown, and then shooting out east here, that'll take you all the way over to St. Louis, is I-70. So this is a major highway. I drove it way more times than I want to admit when I lived in Denver and was coming back to see family. Boring driving I-70 through the state of Kansas. There's like nothing there. The halfway point's like Hayes. Got to stop and eat at Freddy's. So I-70 though is going to take you, you know, obviously you can get to Lawrence, out here to Topeka, Bonner Springs, through downtown Kansas City. Now over here is the Legends, so 435 and 70 interchange here. That's where the Legends Outlet Mall is. It's also where Sporting KC's stadium is. It's where the NASCAR racetrack is. You know, kind of all of those things. They're building a giant Discovery KC theme park out there as well. And then there's talks about maybe some sports teams ending up there outside of the Sporting KC, but that's yet to be determined. And then over here, spilling out onto the east side, this is going to get you to places like Raytown. You got Green Valley here, Blue Springs, Independence. So all of those areas there, you'll be able to access off of I-70. Coming from the southwest side of, or the southeast side of the metro, rather, down here we have places like Belton, we have Raymore, Loch Lloyd, that's where Patrick Mahomes lives. It's a gated community, amazing houses. This is 71 Highway, so this is gonna take you up through like Grandview and then into South KC, and then it spills out through the other side, and then you have 169 here, which takes you up to Smithville. Now, the Buck O'Neill Bridge was this amazing bridge. It's being demolished right now. They're building this new interchange here, so there's a bit of construction taking place on 169 there, so just something to note as well. And then you're going to have 29. So 29 here, it's actually, if we were to come down here to 71, so like this whole area here gets rather congested because it kind of bottlenecks. You have to get off on 12th Street, or you have to get way over to get onto like 635. Or you stay on 71, and then this will actually spill you over here. If you keep going to the northeast, that's going to be 35, or you could curve off and take 29. This is going to be like your main route to the airport. So I live down here in South Kansas City, so I'm constantly, if I'm traveling or I'm trying to get to that part of the city or the airport, hopping on 71, taking that to 29, and then that's going to get you to your airport up there. So those are some of the major highways here, and then another one that you'll probably frequent if you're going to live down here in this southeast side of the metro is 470. So 470 comes over here, kind of loops up, and then it turns into 291, and that'll take you to Liberty, Independence. But this is going to be one of the major thoroughfares and access highways to get to Lee Summit. So if you end up in Lee Summit, 470 is going to be, you know, a pretty regular commute for you. And you can see that Lee Summit's kind of down here on the most furthest southeastern corner of the metro and just outside of the loop. So there you have the major highways. You can see here there are a lot of these, you know, smaller highways. You got 24, you got 50 highway, which would take you out to Lone Jack and Powell Gardens, which is our amazing botanical gardens. And you have like Highway 9 and, you know, these other smaller ones that kind of are just little veins that are access points to get to different parts of the city. And then we have 635 here, which is completing this smaller loop, and that's going to get you through like Kansas City, Kansas, down from Johnson County. Okay, so now that we understand the public transportation and the highways, let's get into the different neighborhoods. And the way that I want to do this is really I'm going to divide the metro into 4 quadrants, and we're going to go through each quadrant and talk about it. So I essentially took State Line here on the south side because State Line drops down and divides the southern part of the metro evenly. And then it runs up here, and you can see this is the Missouri River, but it's also State Line north on the north side of town. So that's kind of what the State Line looks like. So all of this area over here is Kansas, and then everything over on this side is Missouri, and including up here. So you got Kansas, you got Missouri, you got the river. We're all on the same page, right? So let's start up here in the northwest quadrant. So again, you have the Missouri River, which is the border here. You have 2 major counties on the Kansas side in this quadrant, which is going to be Leavenworth County and Wyandotte County. Now, Wyandotte County is where Kansas City, Kansas is located. For some reason, they're not even showing Kansas City, Kansas on this map. It is the smallest Kansas City. And if you're researching the area and you're looking at moving to Kansas City, most likely you've been confused by this. The main Kansas City is actually on the Missouri side, and we'll get into that here in a moment. But KCK is what we call Kansas City, Kansas. That's where you're going to find neighborhoods like Strawberry Hill. And then it's also where the Legends Outlets is located, is in Kansas City, Kansas as well. It's around 150,000 people who reside there. You can find some more affordability within KCK, so we'll get into that in a minute. And then on the north side of the Missouri River, you're going to find places like Parkville, Weatherby Lake, Platte City in this quadrant up here. And then you're also going to have a big chunk of Kansas City north. So Kansas City, the major city, is 314 square miles. It spans quite a big area, and I'll show you a little more in detail here in a moment. But that's really going to be it for this northwestern quadrant. Is you have, you know, those areas, and then you have some outliers. You have like Lansing, Basehor, Tonganoxie out here, and you know, the further you get away from the urban core, the more rural it gets, which is pretty common for Midwestern cities like ours. Okay, now moving over to the northeastern quadrant. This is where you're going to find North Kansas City. Not to be confused with Kansas City North. North Kansas City is its own incorporated city. It's home to around 5,000 people, and it's this dense suburban, urban community just north of the river. Really cool area. I love North Kansas City. There's a lot of stuff to do there. There's Chicken and Pickle Armor Theater. They show like old school movies there. And the summertime, they actually do like a projector screen in the parking lot on the side of the building. It's really cool. So I love that area. And then you're going to have Gladstone, Liberty, Kearney, Smithville will count in the northeastern side here, Excelsior Springs. So that's pretty much what you're going to be looking at for suburbs up here on the northeast side of the metro. And then the rest of this is Kansas City. So, you know, the city of Kansas City kind of takes up a big chunk of this space, and that's land that they've annexed after the war and that sort of thing. So you can be in Kansas City proper in a lot of places north of the river. We refer to this as the Northland. So if you're looking north of the river, you're going to be a Northlander. So kind of get used to that terminology. And I like this area. I mean, you can find some, you know, great properties up there, great neighborhoods, and you have easy access usually to downtown and easier access to the airport, which is one of the big perks to living up north of the river. All right, moving into this southeastern quadrant. This is going to be where the urban core of Kansas City is located. So you have downtown, you have the River Market, you have downtown Kansas City, the Crossroads, Union Station, Midtown, and the Plaza. I mean, all of that is really in this one section here. So a very small area on the map, but it's the most densely populated part of Kansas City. And this is what I would kind of consider part of the urban core. We help a lot of families move into this area. And then just kind of south of that, you have the Brookside and Waldo neighborhoods. Out here, you have Raytown, Independence, Blue Springs, Green Valley, Lee Summit, Grandview, Belton, Raymore, Greenwood. A lot going on over in this area. And the majority of this is Jackson County, so it's the largest county in the entire metro, has around 700,000 people in Jackson County. And this is where you're going to find the most density in terms of housing. If you're looking for like a condo or a loft or something like that, most of those are going to be found within this area. And then some of the more affordable suburbs are located in this quadrant as well, which we'll get into here in a moment. Now, heading out to the last quadrant, this is pretty much just all Johnson County. So Overland Park is a big one. A lot of people that are moving here from out of state are looking at Overland Park. It's the second largest city in the entire metro. It's home to over 200,000 people. Johnson County is the second largest county, but it's also the most expensive county. And a big reason for that is because of the public schools. All of the public schools in Johnson County are very highly rated. But then you have places like Lenexa, you have Olathe, DeSoto, which they're building a new Panasonic EV plant out there. It's a $4 billion project, but DeSoto's a pretty small town, although they are building some new construction out there. You have Shawnee, and then out here you're going to have Bonner Springs, and then in here you're going to have some smaller suburbs like you have Mission and Merriam in here. So all of these places, Leawood down here, it's the most expensive place to live in the entire metro. Prairie Village is right in here. So you can kind of see as we, look at this southwestern quadrant where everything lays out. But this is a very, very popular part of the metro, and especially people who are moving here, families with kids, they constantly are looking on this side of the state line. And then, kind of the closer you get up here to this corner of this quadrant, the more accessible downtown is. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And then the further you get, outside of the loop, the longer the commute time. Like from Olathe to get downtown, you're looking at about, a 30-minute drive. Okay, so let's talk budget and housing, right? So for everybody looking in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range, where you're going to find the highest density of housing in that price range is going to be in this southeastern quadrant of the metro. And this is going to be where you're, again, going to find some lofts and condos. I actually just looked at this condo with a client of mine. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 square foot condo, but it's in the South Plaza, an excellent location. You'll be able to walk to the streetcar and then walk to the plaza. This is listed for $245,000. So again, if you're looking for that condo life, loft, a no maintenance building, you are going to find a lot of that in this area. Now, one thing to keep in mind with those particular types of properties is some of these have really steep HOAs depending on where you're looking, especially here in the plaza area, because a lot of those buildings are quite a bit older. And then as we kind of zoom out here, you can see a lot of properties in the $200,000 to $300,000 price bracket up here in the historic Northeast. So I really like Pendleton Heights, Scarrett Renaissance neighborhoods up here. And then out here you have Independence, where you're also going to find quite a high density of housing in the 200s, and even find some stuff in the 100s there. Blue Springs, I would say, is probably the most bang for your buck as far as suburbs are concerned on the Missouri side. You can see here we got, close to 10 houses out here in Blue Springs, maybe a dozen in the 200s. And this is going to get you something like this, cute little starter home. So if that's what you're looking for, this is 2,100 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath here. And as we go south, you're going to find, quite a bit in Raytown, quite a bit in Grandview, and a couple in Lee Summit, but not really much. Really, it's the 300s that are going to start to get you more into Lee Summit. Okay, so let's zoom back out and look at your $300,000 price range. So this is from $300,000 to $400,000. Again, it's a little more spread out now. There's not as high of a density of housing in any given area, but we are starting to see some more pop up over here in Johnson County on the Kansas side. You got quite a bit here in Midtown. So again, here in Midtown, you have places like Hyde Park, and Hyde Park is this beautiful historic neighborhood. A lot of these houses are like super close together. This one's just across the street from Gillum Park, but I absolutely love these neighborhoods and these staircases. They're just amazing. But the 300s is going to start to get you into places like Hyde Park, Midtown, Valentine, Coleman Highlands, that sort of area. And then you can see kind of up here north of the river, Liberty, you're going to find quite a bit in the 300s, Kearney as well. You'll start to see some things pop up in Parkville, but really as we get up into the 5s, 6, and 7s is when you're going to start to see more inventory in Parkville. The median home price in Parkville is around $550,000. And then, you can get a little starter home in Johnson County in the 300s, but these things sell really, really fast. Everybody wants to be in Johnson County at $300,000. So just know, if you're looking at that price point and you're considering Johnson County, these are some of the hardest homes to get, and you're paying quite a bit more in price per square foot than you would say like out here in Lee Summit. You can typically get a little bit of a bigger house in Lee Summit for, you know, 300,000 to 400,000 like this home here. So, you know, those are some great areas for the 300s. If you're looking in that price range, it is very competitive, really, no matter where you're looking. And then down here in Raymore, you have quite a few options in the 300s as well. All right, moving on to the $400,000 to $500,000 range, we're really starting to see some more inventory down here in Johnson County on this southwest side of the metro. So if you're looking in Johnson County, I would say the 400s is probably where you want to start. And even still, you know, you're not going to find a ton of square footage over here in the 400s. This is a little villa style home in Overland Park. So, you know, you can find stuff like that. And you can even find some newer construction or start to see some newer construction. But as you can see, some of these are like duplexes. So this is going to be a townhome. It's a new construction community. It's starting at $445,000, but that's new construction. It's going to get you 1,800 square feet here in Overland Park. So if you're looking for new construction in Johnson County, you'll have to wait until like the 500 to 600, 700s is really where you're going to see those detached single family homes in Johnson County. But over here, I would say in Shawnee is probably where you're going to get a little more bang for your buck in this price range. So I really like Shawnee in the 400s. You can usually get a little more house up there than you can down here in Overland Park. And the same goes for Olathe. You can find some deals out there as well. And then kind of zooming out, you can see in the Brookside neighborhood, the 400s is really going to be the starting point if you're looking for a 3-bed plus house. Brookside has gotten pretty competitive, but you can find some stuff down here in Brookside in the 400s. And then zooming out, again, you're seeing more inventory out here on the southeastern side as well, over in Blue Springs and Lee Summit. And then north of the river, you're going to have some more here in Kansas City North. So again, this is Kansas City proper up here. This one is newer construction. So this appears to be a reverse 1.5 story. It's one of my favorite floor plans in new construction because you usually have either a walkout basement or a daylight basement. They have these big ensuite bathrooms. And yeah, this is going to be your daylight basement here. And then you have the big covered back porch. All right, jumping into the 600,000s again. This is where you're going to really start to see more of that new construction pop up. So this little corridor down here in Lee Summit, this is where a lot of new construction is taking place. Down here in South Overland Park is where a lot of new construction is taking place, in Spring Hill as well. And then over here on the far west side of Lenexa, Olathe, and Shawnee, that's where a lot of the new construction is taking place out there. So if you're looking for new construction and you're wanting to get into that $500,000 price point, you know, up to $600,000, these are going to be the areas where you're going to start to see more of that inventory pop up. And then north of the river, of course, you're going to have some new construction up here as well. But as you can see, things are just a little more spread out. They're not as dense, but you can see that there are some of these newer construction homes that are taking place up here north of the river. All right, and last but not least, let's check out $1 million plus properties. You can see they're kind of spread out all throughout here. We have 325 million plus in the MLS here. And I mean, this goes all the way out to Topeka. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. You have some $1 million penthouses down here. So this is downtown Kansas City, iconic condo building. You can see just, this is amazing. Like something out of New York or Chicago. $1.9 million for this condo unit here in downtown Kansas City. So if you're looking for a $2 million condo, there you go. And then out here in Lee Summit, actually south of Lee Summit. We have the most expensive listing on the entire MLS. This thing's $12.6 million. It's on Weatherby Lake, and it's pretty phenomenal. I actually toured this recently on my Instagram page, so you can go over and check out the full tour if you want to see the video of the interior and the outside of this thing. But very, very ornate architecture. You have this 1,000-bottle glass climate controlled wine room here, and just a really cool ceiling in the dining room, which is custom, one of a kind, absolutely amazing. There's a theater room in this place. You have the spiral staircases, but you know, by and large, the big perk for me is this thing is on the water. You have your own dock. It's amazing, but it's $12.6 million. If you're looking for something in that price range, you can get that there in Weatherby Lake. And then you're going to find a lot of $1 million plus properties like kind of right through here. This is where a lot of new construction is taking place, kind of closer to the urban core in the Country Club district, is through Mission Hills, Prairie Village, Leawood. So you'll find some older homes here, but you'll also find some newer construction homes like this one here, brand new, just built. This is for 1.2, and it's brand new. So 3,943 square feet, 4-bed, 5-bath for 1.6 million. So there you have it, a full tour of the Kansas City Metro. I hope you learned something from this. And if you have any additional questions, always feel free to shoot me a call, text, or email. And if you're looking for more of a pros and cons of living in Kansas City, then be sure to check out this next video right here, and we'll see you on the next video.